You're listening to Jazz After 9. My name is Neil Coligan, and on the show tonight, my special guest is Curtis Nowosad, who originally is from Winnipeg, now living in New York City, studying at the Manhattan School of Music for his master's degree. And I'm very pleased to welcome in studio because he is performing at the TD Winnipeg International Jazz Festival. Good evening, Curtis.
Hi, Neil. Thanks for having me.
You were more than welcome. And it's funny because people, of course, will look at the program guide for the Jazz Festival and note that you're performing on Monday night at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre. Special guests, including Jimmy Green, of course, who previously lived here in Winnipeg and was at the U of M's Jazz Studies. But the thing that really blew my mind is how many performances you're actually going to be doing during this Jazz Festival, including tonight with Amber Epp.
Yeah. I'm actually playing with 3 out of the 4 bands tonight.
Yeah?
I'm playing with Faux Pas Funk and Neil Watson as well.
So
tonight.
You're going to be a very busy man.
Yeah, it's a pretty busy week.
Let's quickly go over that. I mean, you're doing tonight. I believe you're also doing Sunday evening, or?
Yeah, I'm playing on Sunday with Aaron Shore and with Alpha, this is Mila Alpha, and Simon Christie is also on Sunday. So I'm doing those 3 on Sunday. And my own show on Monday, and then actually Tuesday and Wednesday after that, we're going in the studio while Jimmy is here. I'm going to be recording my next album. Then on the 19th and 20th, I'm playing with Aaron Propp and Larry Roy and Carl Kohut, Keith Price, Wally Larson, and what's the last one? I actually can't even remember what the last one is. But
So if somebody hasn't seen you in one location, they can definitely see you in some other.
Yeah.
They even may just stumble upon you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll be around.
Yeah. So the great thing, Curtis, I remember last time I saw you there was an evening in Celebration of the Music for a compilation that you were involved with called Farewell 274. It was in tribute to the late Aqua Books. Mm-hmm. And that was over at the Franco-Manitoban Center. It wasn't even in the main room. It was upstairs in that sort of little cabaret area. And now your name is up in lights at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Center. That must be such a kick.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. Someone sent me a photo of not just, it's like my name and a picture of me and everything. It was kind of blown away.
Yeah, but you're not coming here directly from New York. I mean, from what I've been seeing on your Facebook postings, you've been actually touring already.
Yeah, we actually, I mean, I finished school mid-May and then had about 3 days in New York, came home, had about 3 days here rehearsing with Derek Gardner and Steve Kirby and Will Bonas, and then we went out west. We played at the Yardbird Suite in Edmonton. Then we went out to played at the Streaming Cafe in Kelowna, which is very cool because they're not normally a jazz venue, but they what they do is they stream your performance online and people can tweet questions at you, and then they put up a link of the whole show online. So that we played Salmon Arm, Vernon, Banff, Calgary at the Ironwood, and then came home. And then we're actually in between all that, tomorrow we're actually we're driving to Regina to play at their jazz festival. So that's Friday the 13th. And then, then we're also playing at the Ottawa and Montreal Jazz Festivals at the end of the month. So it's a pretty busy time right now.
Yeah, so it's not like you're not practiced or anything.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Exactly. Interesting thing here. You're someone who, of course, represents the community well. You're educated in this community. You've performed in this community. You've been what I would call a prime mover for a lot of younger performers who have actually had an opportunity, like with that compilation, Farewell 274, to actually get their stuff out there. And you've also recorded your own album using local musicians. And now you're in New York. What are you telling people in New York about Winnipeg?
Oh, I tell them all about it. Actually, a friend of mine called me out a few days before I left because they were talking about I think they were talking about Jimmy Green. It was a couple saxophonists. They were talking about how great Jimmy Green was. They said, oh well, he was teaching in Winnipeg, and then they were talking for another 30 seconds, and they started talking about John Gordon. I said, oh well, John Gordon is in Winnipeg now. And then one of my friends just rolled his eyes at me and said, "Oh, Winnipeg, okay."
All roads lead back to Winnipeg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get tired of hearing about it. But no, I mean, I think that especially with me being there, with Luke Selleck and Devin Gillingham as well, and now Carl Kohut is going. There's and just between that, I think that younger people are starting to hear about Winnipeg because of that, and because of the faculty that's there, and then people who are more established on the scene all know about Winnipeg because of Steve. Because of Steve Kirby and Derek Gardner. They know, and it's interesting because I'll meet people from, Michigan, for example, and they all know Derek Gardner because he taught at Michigan State. So then I have this instant thing in common with them. And then with, so same if I meet anyone from Connecticut, of course, everyone from Connecticut is like, it's Jimmy's home. So like everyone is, we know Jimmy Green. So then that's our connection as well, so it's been
as well as Earl McDonald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Earl McDonald, Bryn Roberts, another great Winnipegger who's out there. Glenn Patcha, there's some great ones. So so it's been very cool that way, just to have these connections. I meet anyone from St. Louis, they all know about Steve. It's very like, it's been cool, and I think that having those guys here really did prepare me very well. And Luke was saying the same thing. Like, it wasn't such a shock going to New York. I mean, I've visited a bunch of times, and just having guys on that level playing with sort of that New York aesthetic here sort of really, really helped prepare me, so that I sort of knew what I was in for. I mean, you can never know until you actually go. There's obviously a lot of surprises, but at least in general, it wasn't like a total culture shock or anything. So.
Yeah. Well, you certainly carried that 6 Degrees of Winnipeg with you when you went to Europe. You were part of that Manhattan School of Music, was represented at the NEA Jazz Awards in Amsterdam in March. You were the only Canadian in that particular competition. Mm-hmm. That must have been amazing as well. Yeah.
It was cool. It was funny, like, because there were 2 American schools. So in a way, it's like we were sort of representing the U.S. because there were a bunch of the European schools, so we're sort of representing the U.S. But I had to be like, come on, I'm the only Canadian over here.
Yeah,
guys.
you were the Steve Nash on the team.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at this stage of your career, I mean, you're still in school. You're getting ready to record your second album. How do you see things for yourself? Are you going to be in New York for a long while?
Well, I'm going to be there for at least another couple of years, and then we'll have to see. I mean, I'll be finishing my master's this year, and then the way the U.S. government handles it is you get a year. You can apply for a year of what's called OPT, which is optional practical training, so you can work in your field for a year in the U.S. So I'm going to take that because that'll be, it'll be good to be in New York and not in school, because it gets pretty hectic being in school. Manhattan School of Music is one of the things that's great about it, and what everyone warned me about it also is like it's a very heavy workload. So it's a lot of work, and it really tests your ability to function on all those levels and still be able to practice, take care of your stuff. And, in my case, some students don't really go out that much. They're doing school and that's it. For me, it was really a big thing that I wanted to, take in as much of New York as possible. So whenever I wasn't doing schoolwork, I'd be out, hanging till way too late.
And so many opportunities. Yeah. So, I'm wishing you all the best because, of course, you've got a very hectic week coming up here as well as today. But we're certainly looking forward. We play your music here on Jazz After 9 and also on the weekend with Roxane Gagné. I'm predicting you're going to do very well because you have got the personality and the drive and the talent to really go far. So we're wishing you well for sure.
Much appreciated. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Just briefly, though, about the concert on Monday with Jimmy Green. Now, some of the money from this particular concert is going to his Anna Grace project.
Yeah. It's $10 per ticket is going toward the Anna Grace project, which is it's a program that it's started at what's called Klingberg Family Centers, and it's run by Jimmy's wife Nelba, and they do a lot of community building initiatives and violence prevention and help with impoverished families in their area, New Britain, the area of Connecticut. And I got a chance to read through actually all of their objectives, and it's really some amazing stuff, in terms of collecting clothing and food for people, in terms of offering training for young fathers, and a lot of things that can really impact the community in the long run. So really happy to be able to help in any way that we can. And as a community, I think that we'll all be able to rally and show Jimmy our love and support.
And that's so important because, of course, it's hard for anyone to forget the fact that his daughter Anna Grace was one of the victims of that Newtown shooting. And, of course, the whole issue of gun violence in the United States is such a huge fire point for so many discussions that we're very glad that Jimmy can see that this community also supports him in that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, as I've heard him say, like, as much as he's seen about the darkest side of humanity possible, he's also seen the best, because so many people have rallied around and offered love and support and everything in every way, shape, and form, you know. So you know, and I really hope that this will be no exception, you know, and it seems like it will be, you know. So
okay, well, we'll end off this interview with a track from your debut album, The Skeptic and the Cynic, and let's set this one up. This is The Way I Feel.
Yeah, The Way You Make Me Feel.
The Way You Make Me Feel.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's The Way You Make Me Feel. This was I slipped when we were in Salmon Arm. I was talking on the mic. I said, this is a song that was #1 on the charts right around the time that I was born. And then Steve and Derek both looked at each other and just rolled their eyes, laughed. I said, well, you know, I can't help it. It is what it is. So, but it's a great song, and I've had a lot of great response from people over it. So,
okay, this is Curtis Nowosad on Classic 107.